Welcome District 1. Welcome Old Redford. All right. Well, here we are again at this location. Just a few years ago, it was vacant, abandoned, decaying, this whole area. And now we're at a point where we have an opportunity to move forward, move the city forward. And we don't do that just by accident. It happens because you have strong leadership, but you also have members of the community who demand more of their leadership. Yeah. And so today would not have happened if it were not for the foresight and the vision, again, of the community that said that we want an 8th precinct, but we know that sometimes elected officials, we don't hear you. But that's not the case with this particular mayor. I want to personally thank him as a member, a resident in the 8th precinct, for bringing back the 8th precinct here, right in the heart of District 1, right across the street from where it was before. And I also want to thank the Chief of Police as well for his tremendous leadership and what he's done with the police department, because again, yeah, you got to give him a round of applause. He's made sure that the hearts and the minds of not just the citizens, but also his officers who have had some tough issues over the years are the top priority. And I've got to admit, I was one of those folks who way back in the day who said, you know, this is just a building. The building doesn't keep you safe. But the reality is, if you had an opportunity to go over and look at the conditions where the officers were packed in the 6th and 8th precinct, it makes a difference. And if we're trying to bring officers back to this department, we have to make sure that it is an environment that is conducive for them to come back. So again, congratulations and kudos to DPD and the mayor for all the work that you've done in this effort. Round of applause one more time for them. So I also like to acknowledge, in addition, of course, to Mayor Duggan and Chief Craig, First Assistant Chief Lucinda Lucinda. I messed it all up, didn't I? I remember your other last name. Assistant Chief James White. Assistant Chief Steve Dolance. Deputy Chief Charles Fitzgerald. Commander Todd Bettison. Director Donald Hollins as well. And so I'm going to get out your way and I'm going to bring up the chief, but this is, when this building goes up next year, all of you who are over here, you remember, that'll be 10 years. 10 years will have passed from when it went down and went dark. So here we are with that 10-year anniversary just next year. Ladies and gentlemen, again, a round of applause, Chief Police James Craig.
Thank you, thank you. Well, that's why I love Detroit. The reception, I just can't get over. First, I want to thank the mayor again for his leadership, his guidance, and certainly this couldn't have been a reality without his leadership. So let's give him another round of applause for that. Certainly, Police Commissioner Richard Shelby, this is his area, so let's acknowledge him. Thank you. We've already acknowledged members of my staff. First, Assistant Chief Stair.
Thank you, sir.
And certainly Assistant Chief James White, who really played an integral role in really just dealing with all the neighborhood police stations. Because we give him a round of applause. So 3 years ago, just before being sworn in, my mom's cousin, who lives in the 8th precinct, Reva Gibson, she came to me and said, you know, I don't know if you know this, but we don't have a police station in the 8th precinct. And if you did one thing, find a way to reopen the 8th precinct. You may not know this, but it's one of the most densely populated areas of the city. So if you could do that or be part of that, that would be something to say. And so I started really taking a look at it. And many of you have heard of our neighborhood police officers. I know we have some 8th precinct neighborhood police officers here. BC Coleman? All right. So as I thought about neighborhood police officers, an initiative that would really bring and drive community policing into the neighborhoods, I thought that would be a great effort. But as important is opening neighborhood police stations. And when you look, we have a East Side neighborhood police station called the 5th, the 9th, And this is so important when we think about the 8th Precinct here on the west side of Detroit. So this is truly an exciting day for me. This was a seed that was planted in me when I arrived back to Detroit after being gone 34 years by my cousin. And so it is a great day. But it could not have been done without you. You count. I talk about how important the cops are, and they matter, but you matter as well. When the doors open to the new number 8th, it's going to be a great day. And so, thank you. So I want to thank you for your patience. I want to thank you for your support. And know that the Detroit Police Department, the new Detroit Police Department, is here to drive neighborhood policing in a big way. So in closing, I just say thank you again, but I want to also bring up a person, the mayor of our city, who, from the onset of bringing out neighborhood policing, he said, what a great idea. And he's been supportive of it ever since. And so without further ado, I want to bring up the mayor of the great city of Detroit, Mayor Mike Duggan.
All right. Another good day in Northwest Detroit. If you look at how far we have come since Chief Craig got here, you can say whatever you want about policing. Cities are safest when there's a high degree of trust between the community and the officers. They can interact. They've got that kind of ability. You remember when Chief Craig came in, not only did you not have a precinct here, if you managed to get over to Plymouth Road after 5 p.m., they had the doors locked, wouldn't let you in anyway. Remember that? Okay? So the chief started by opening the doors so the citizens could interact with their department, and then one precinct at a time, we've been restoring it. And there have been a number of bad decisions the city has made over the years that have left the neighborhoods behind, but none was worse than closing the precincts. It just made no sense. And so my first week, the chief says, we got to open a new 8th precinct. I said, well, when I was prosecutor, it was right across the street. It was a great location, perfectly good precinct. Why don't we reopen the old one? I said, well, the city sold it. It's been scrapped. It's not salvageable. But we've got a site across the street. And we went to work on it. And we had a plan. And then my friend Councilman Tate came to me. And he said, I really need you to look at this plan. He says, I want this 8th precinct, but they're going to knock down the old library to create a parking place. He says, and I think that old library can be saved. Would you go out and look at it? And so I came out with our team because the initial report was the building was too far gone, it couldn't be saved. We came out with our outstanding Detroit Building Authority team, went through that building and said, it is beautiful. It's been neglected, but it can be restored. And so we are opening a new 8th precinct, not with one building, but with 2 buildings, one for the police officers and one for the community. And that building would not be there if it weren't for James Tate. And so we are going to move forward. If you haven't met the new head of the building authority, Tyrone Clifton. Tyrone, raise your hand. He's the man who promises this building will be open next summer. So if you see him out here, he's got a pretty good track record, but we're going to start to provide the community the kind of resources they ought to have, to provide the police officers the kind of resources they should have. And I look forward to being here with you next summer when we cut the ribbon and go inside. Thank you very much.
Before we go forward, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before we go forward, I'd like to also acknowledge Representative Sherry Gay Dunyogo. She is our rep over in this area. That's right, we're one team, no matter what level of government. Any other elected officials here, by chance? Because we are one team. All right. So, also want to bring up next Captain Worboys. We're going to bring you up first. Captain Worboys.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to be real brief. I just wanted to say how excited we are at the 8th Precinct to be moving back into the area. It's going to be amazing to have a new facility, and we're looking forward to being back in the neighborhoods so we can interact with the citizens on a daily basis and not have the distance that we have now. The officers are very excited. The morale is up, and we're just really looking forward to being here next year. And I just want to thank the chief and everybody involved in making this a reality. Thank you very much.
That's our captain. And so, you know, this area is becoming a hot spot. And it's becoming a hot spot because we have this big old building over there that was repurposed. It used to be Redford High School, but now it's what? Now it's Meyer. So this project also, we got some assistance from the folks from Meyer. And so we're, again, talking about partnership. So without further ado, I'd like to bring forward Mr. Matt Craig. He is a representative from Meyer.
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to Mayor Mike Duggan, Councilman James Tate, Captain Worboys, and Chief James Craig, you know, and everyone else who's here today to celebrate this great revitalization of this community. You know, ever since we opened up our store just a year ago, we've been providing support and doing our best to create a great shopping experience for our customers and to ensure that we're a good neighbor to this community. It's really foremost of everything we do at Meyer is to be a good neighbor in everything that we do. You know, so whether it's providing free prescriptions to supporting an 8th Precinct to the Forgotten Harvest, we put every effort into doing what's right for our communities and all the communities we serve. But we are extremely focused on doing what's best for the neighborhood and the city of Detroit. We look forward to our continued partnership with this community and with this precinct, both of which will play a key role in improving the lives of our neighbors, our communities, our team members, and our customers. So thank you again. And now I am pleased to introduce Council President Brenda Jones. Well, thank you.
I don't think she was able to make it. I actually had to leave out from a council session that we were having to make this, but I wasn't going to miss this moment. So we were going to be here together. You've heard from government, legislative body, executive body. You also heard from police. Now, and you heard from business as well. Now it's time to hear from the community. And so we have Mary Price here from Greater Sandhill. If you can just tell us how folks feel in your community.
Okay.
All right, come on up.
Glad to. Good afternoon. I'm Mary Price, president of Greater Sandhill Neighborhood Organization. We're one of the historic old Redford neighborhoods here in Northwest Detroit. When I was a kid, I lived on a street that had this big rock in the center of the block. We'd play hide and seek around it. We'd get to running and throw our arms around that rock and say, and yell, "Safe!" Well, now we're going to have a new safe rock in the form of our new police station, right back in Northwest Detroit, in the heart of where we shop, worship, socialize, and work. We're grateful to Mayor Duggan and the Department of Neighborhood staff, who are, there's Stephanie and Reggie Reg, who have cultivated a climate of responsiveness and dialogue with the community. We're grateful to Councilman Tate and his staff. Reggie's around here somewhere, taking pictures, who listened when we told him that we want to save this beautiful old sandstone building. We are grateful to Chief Craig for working toward this day and to our wonderful neighborhood police officers who listen and respond to our quality of life concerns. Finally, we are grateful to those neighbors who are seated out here who decided that civic engagement is worthy of their time and continue to make calls, show up at meetings, build relationships to keep the positive momentum going in our great city of Detroit. Thank you.